EP7.
It's about reinventing ourselves when we feel stuck.
We all want that breakthrough.
But how do we get there?
Deconstructing a version that you're in that's not compatible with the destiny you want, and reconstructing into a version that's compatible.
You're able to be your true self.
If you can be empowered for your purpose.
Totally. It's what matters.
So let's talk about what matters. Hello and welcome to the EP7 podcast channel. I have a wonderful friend who is a special guest, Kasia McNaught. How are you?
Hi, George. I'm really well, thanks. And you?
Yeah, good. Overdue to have you on the EP7 podcast channel, but I have to admit, I think really we need to be doing this more often.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks. Super excited to be on here today.
So, Kasia, you showed me a really cool video. What was that movie actually called?
The short film Dating in 2025.
That's right. I really enjoyed that. That was really cool.
Yeah, it was kind of frighteningly accurate and funny at the same time.
Actually, we'll include the link to that.
Yeah, good idea.
YouTube, the movie.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Okay, so why don't you give a summary of what you saw in that movie?
So the film is shared by, Matthew Hussey, who does a lot of podcasts and a lot of videos about relationships. And I believe it's been winning a lot of awards on the short film circuit. But it's basically giving a realistic profile of what dating in 2025 would look like. But it's still really easy to relate to now. I think the main message is that technology can end up controlling us more than the other way around. And that when we lose that sense of connection and actually being part of a tribe and the human connection, we actually physically, mentally, spiritually aren't okay. But it's easy to isolate yourself these days and remain, as they say, in your cell, confined in your own space and not actually out there meeting people. So, yeah, I think the main thing was that we're human and we crave meaningful, emotional, real connection.
We do, but if we're not raised to develop that skill because technology keeps us from being around people and dealing with people's emotions and learning to be resilient and therefore able to have a relationship, because none of us are perfect and we all can get into moods where we're doubting ourselves or doubting our capability, and suddenly we're safer by keeping a screen and distance between us and others. But we still get to communicate, but it's weird. It's almost like we're just giving ourselves enough oxygen through virtual connecting to stave off the true connection of being there with each other.
Like when you see in the film when they're actually all sitting at home in their own spaces, but they have, virtual reality connecting them in the class where they're well dressed and, well presented and all that, but they're not actually leaving their own apartments. And the voice that's narrating, who's the virtual assistant, I guess, to the main character.
Like a Siri.
Yeah, tells him he hasn't left his apartment in over 40 days. So, yeah, it's easy for people to hide behind the technology and the perception of what they want to be as opposed to where they really are.
Yeah, I noticed that even when people are around each other, the tendency to get lost in their phone, if they're given the chance, they'll do it. And you got to ask yourself, what's making the body and your emotional state attach itself to a screen? And I really think that we're chasing validation.
And it's addictive.
Yeah, but I think the addiction, Kasia, is coming from, I want to be liked. I want someone to comment on something that I've decided is important. Oh, someone's commented. Oh, I've had more likes on this.
Oh, yeah, I want to check in there so my friends think I'm cool because I'm at this trendy location. Yeah.
So if you were to look at all the things that we do in social media, we don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, which is, hey, we're globally connected. We're sharing our photo album in real time of when we're actually on holidays. The photos get logged in the journal. They're there to see. They're there to interact with. There is so much cool stuff with Facebook and social media overall, and Instagram and all that. Cool stuff.
Beside which, I don't have a career without social media, since that's pretty much the space in which I work. So I have to say there are some benefits.
Exactly. And, if you've got a great product or service, and then suddenly you can afford to advertise to your niche target market, and they're finding you, and your business is growing because you can afford to advertise, and you're learning to advertise well. That's a great thing. It's a great thing. But look at what it takes to nurture a captive audience. So obviously Facebook need people to check in a lot. So they've had to look at what would make someone want to check in a lot. And it's become a game of manipulating people to get them addicted, because it takes an addiction to something to want to stay connected to it as much as possible. So I guess the writing was always on the wall that this was going to get to a point where Facebook were using psychological tactics to get you needing to log in and scroll through your newsfeed and engage, interact.
And like I sometimes joke these days, dance like no one's watching, because everybody's too busy scrolling through their news feeds anyway. So it's true, when you go out and you see people's attentions, shifted to their phone. It is addictive. And I think I've read somewhere the way that iPhone's designed, designed to keep you enthralled, and even the colors they use. If you put your phone off the vibrant colors onto the black and white or the different filter, apparently it's less addictive as well. And that, blue light that keeps you wired at night and keeps you awake, it's not very good for us. There's a app that you can put on, or settings you can change to reduce that. And
what is that app?
So I've actually got one on my laptop. I can't remember right now what it's called, but I'll check.
So you're using it on your laptop as well?
Yes, there's one that you can basically switch between that really intrusive. Is it the blue light? That's the one that really keeps you really wide and awake. I think it's the one that's not good for you.
I'm not 100% sure, but I have been hearing that the light at night is not helping people shut down, and people taking their smartphones to their bed and then wanting to scroll through before they actually go to sleep is not a good habit.
No, it's not good for us. And I'll find the link to the app. But there's just a way of changing the settings in your actual iPhone settings so that you can change it to black and white, or change it to a different filter so it's not on that light, or you can program it so it goes off at a certain time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Kasia, every now and then, I don't know how I got to this point, but every now and then as I'm scrolling through a news feed, nothing is giving me the dopamine hit.
Yeah.
Like I'm losing my interest, because it seems like all the posts are the same kind of thing. And I'm chasing the next thrill, the next exciting, weird, amazing thing, or the thing that will inspire me, touch me deeply. And unfortunately, I'm scrolling through and there's a lot of clutter that I'm not resonating with.
Well, I mean, there's probably no coincidence there that you're called a Facebook user, so to speak. It's a bit like being on a drug, I suppose, and you need more and more because you become immune to get your next hit. But all jokes aside...
Oh, my gosh, that's what's happening to me?
Yeah, well,
I thought I was just becoming so mature, Facebook was not interested in me anymore, but it's because I need something else to give me a bigger hit. But how is Facebook going to do that? Well, it's obviously not.
Yeah, well, I don't think ultimately it will, but there's something addictive about scrolling through as though you're going to find something like the next thing that you're looking for. And Mark Zuckerberg changed the algorithms, in January, so that our news feeds are now supposed to show us more content relating to our personal connections like family and friends, less so from business pages and less commercial type things. But at the end of the day, I guess we all get a bit overloaded because we're so bombarded with information, advertising, content, and it all gets a bit repetitive after a while.
Well, I wanted to bring up this point that Facebook has a lot of tweaking that you as the user are given the opportunity to configure.
Yes.
And so that you can have things in your newsfeed that matter to you more.
Yes.
So if you've got like family, friends,
you can
business
make a
associates.
close friends list so that you see.
You can?
Yeah, you can. Or you can mark someone as close. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's explore all the things that you're aware of that would help someone build a newsfeed that truly resonates with their values and the people that matter most and the opportunities that matter most.
Yeah.
So close friends is one of them. I remember seeing it. It's somewhere on settings or profile.
It's been around for ages. They may have even updated it since.
Yeah.
But Facebook also shows you content because they try to know what you like based on previous things that you've liked or posts or content that you've engaged with.
Mm-hmm.
So because I work in marketing and I follow all sorts of pages, my newsfeed's quite, a scramble, and Facebook's probably confused. But if you're an animal lover and you love dogs, for example, and you watch a lot of videos or posts relating to dogs, you might be shown more of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But you can also choose which pages are prioritized in your newsfeed according to going on the page and seeing it first in your newsfeed.
Well, I just brought that up.
Yes.
So if you go to anyone's profile page and you go to following right next to message in the banner part on the right-hand side under friends, you'll see that when you click on following, it's ticked on default. You can unfollow the person, which means you can stay friends.
That's a good way to have a break from them if you're kind of sick of their shit, basically.
Well, yes, or you don't want to create drama because maybe you do like them as a person. It's just that what they're sharing
is too much.
It's too much, or you don't resonate with. You can unfollow so that you don't see their newsfeed anymore, but you're still friends and they can still message you, and you can post on each other's walls if there's an event or something important, but you're no longer bombarded in your newsfeed with this type of stuff they post, which is a great idea.
It is.
To unfollow someone rather than having to defriend them. That's quite extreme. But I can see above the default, see first. And I've used that before. I don't use it that often. I'm thinking I really need to sit down and have some discipline to go, all right, I'm going to go through my newsfeed right now and all the people that I get triggered into thinking, I really like what this person posts. I think I need to build a list of all the people that I want to see first in my newsfeed.
It's a good idea. Or even if it's pages relating to, something you're specifically interested in.
Like EP7.
Yeah, exactly.
Guys.
Or industry updates,
Go into the EP7 Facebook page, the official one, and put see first. You can actually do that for pages as well.
Yeah, so if you go to any page.
Yeah, I'm actually going there now just to kind of see.
And then...
so where it says like...
no.
Following.
Yeah, so you see...
Oh, yes.
You can choose to see first.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So it says unfollow this page. Please don't click on that on EP7.
Don't, yeah.
But then below that, in your newsfeed, see first. Or if it's default, that leaves it to Facebook to decide, which means you're not going to see much.
Yeah.
You can unfollow. Please ignore that part. Then notifications, highlight posts. So you can be notified every time there's a post from that page. So if you really love a page and you want to stay connected on everything that's going on, you can actually be notified when there's a post.
And see first as well, so yeah.
But Kasia, what that tells me is that if you can educate, if you're trying to build a business and you have genuine followers who are like your tribe, they love what you're about and they want to support you, there's a way for them to really be connected without you having to pay to reach them, because Facebook, while they've created, they're almost like leaning on our naivety on our inability to know how to use Facebook, so that people have to pay money to reach us, even though we want them to reach us.
Exactly.
But what I'm seeing is that you can literally make decisions so that the people that you love, that you want to support, who have businesses, you can follow them and even be notified of their pages when they post.
Yes. And groups that are linked to pages are a really great way of staying in the loop and keeping that engagement going as well.
I find groups are great because conversations and discussions and there's almost like the tribe, there's an equality in a group where we're all sharing.
Yes.
A Facebook page is almost like, what would you say is the difference? It's like your window of what you post that is really about.
Facebook page like your shop front for your business, whereas the group's kind of like the community that engages with your business.
It's like you've walked into the store
and
now you're hanging out with people and discussing things that are about what that offering is or what that service is.
Yeah.
So the group is the people in, but looking through the window before you choose to go. What a wonderful way to see it.
Yeah, definitely. And just also recently, Facebook have enabled you to make your business page, an admin of a group, because groups are becoming more popular and they're one of the things that, have been tipped off as the way to keep engagement going. So
I think I need to have that happen.
Yes.
So can you link them so that the people in the group are automatically prompted to connect to the page, or the people in the page are prompted to connect to a group?
So they'll show up as being linked and your page will be the admin and vice versa, and then you can cross-promote and share content.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, so...
That's a great idea.
Yeah, definitely a good idea. I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah. And then there was also something that we were discussing, which is when you're going through a news feed and you come to a post, there's the 3 dots in the top right corner. And if you click on that, you can save the post. I actually use that a lot.
I save posts, especially articles, when I'm on the go all the time, because I don't have time to maybe read or watch.
Yeah. So whenever I'm chilling out and I want quality, I'm able to go to my saved posts. So there's stuff that's really intriguing, fascinating, but I just don't have the time at the time, right? And then hide post. So in other words, this tells us we can see fewer of these types of posts. So we don't want to rule them out. We just want less of it because we're getting too much of it. So I like that feature. But there's this interesting snooze the person that's posting for 30 days.
Yeah, you just need a break from them.
That's not
like a holiday.
So you kind of don't want to lose connection, but if you feel too much is happening from where they're coming from, you can actually that's an interesting one.
Yeah, it's a less permanent option than unfollowing altogether.
Yeah. And then look, I don't know what the difference is between unfollowing someone and then hiding all from that person, but I get the impression that you're just achieving the same outcome.
I think so, but I think hide all will take it to the next level where even if they are tagged in other posts and so on, you maybe don't see anything at all featuring them, not only their own individual posts.
While they still think they're your friend.
Yes.
Now, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's almost like Facebook has allowed us to be passive-aggressive.
True.
It's like, I'm going to pretend I'm your friend. So if you are suspicious that I've disconnected from you, you can go to my page and you're going to see that I'm still your friend. But the truth is, I've made myself invisible.
I actually think you're never mind, I won't say the word. Yeah, it's true.
But I guess...
You can also hide yourself in chat, and pretty sure you can hide yourself in chat from specific people. So if they're annoying and want to chat to you, you can, not have to chat to them.
I better not do that to Julian.
Oh, yeah, Julian. Block him for sure.
Okay, so if I have to open something up.
So I'm pretty sure, hopefully I haven't said something that's not making sense now.
No, that's cool. So you open up like a message and then...
Well, you can mute the conversation, and you can also turn off chat for so-and-so. So you can turn off chat just for that person so that even though you're appearing on chat, to them you're not.
Yeah. And then you can mute conversations if people put you into a group chat. You can mute it, You can, of course, you can delete it. You can ignore the messages, block them. There's a lot of ways to manage this too much. There's just too much information. And I guess we got to get good at controlling it.
Yes, and I think because there's too much information and everybody's too busy and rushing, we don't necessarily stop and take the time to do that, so.
And also we're getting desensitized.
Yeah.
So we literally are no longer feeling and connecting to what's been shared because the brain can't handle
so
too much
of it. Yeah, you become immune to it. I agree.
I think that's what's happened to me.
I feel the same as well.
I think the scroll where I feel nothing and I'm scrolling on and nothing. I think it's just Facebook's algorithm plus me being overwhelmed with too much is getting to a point where I just don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Now, I'm obviously exaggerating that point. Of course I care. But there is a lot of stuff that I see that calls me to care, but I have no direct control over the event. And it gets to a point where I have to say to myself, there's nothing I can do in this situation. I don't like what's happening to these people in this country. But nothing I say is right now or nothing I feel is going to contribute to making a difference. But I do want to contribute somehow, and I don't know how yet. But I feel like I've learnt to not be apathetic.
Dissociate a little bit?
Yeah, but to just know how to dissociate enough to kind of cope, which is, it's a dilemma for us as humans that are caring by nature.
Yeah, totally agree.
It scares me, that if we're seeing too many injustices in the world and too many things that are blatantly wrong, and it gets to the point where we just shut off because we don't like being powerless.
Exactly.
We don't like being helpless. So to cope with that, we just can't go there anymore. I feel that's on the edge of something horrible for the human race to find itself in that predicament.
Yeah, and definitely once we start feeling powerless and like we aren't in control of our own lives, that's a big cause of, feeling depressed and losing hope for sure.
It makes me wonder, right? If we're going to use social media in a healthy way, I love the idea of being connected globally, but acting locally.
Yes.
I feel like we're fragmented, distracted into being keyboard warriors for a cause that gives us no direct action in the neighborhood we're in. I wonder if we use social media to share global ideas, but to connect in a more engaging way locally.
Yes.
To live those ideas in our own backyards.
And I think that's where the groups are also very useful. And I have seen some positive stuff happening on groups for local suburbs or, for example, groups relating to lost and found pets in Perth where people have, or for rescue pets, sharing posts to help a rescue pet find a new home before it's too late, or to unite a missing pet with its owner and that sort of thing. And people really get behind that. So that's really cool because that can make a real difference.
Yeah, and like another example is I've seen people use local networking where they meet up in a group, but then they use that because everyone is local that they'll actually physically meet up as well. Yeah. And I know, like, for example, there's a Perth cryptocurrency group and then people who know people locally invite them in and then everyone's sharing freely what they're learning about, what's going on, and then they actually physically meet. And I think that the more we do that, the more we are translating global ideas into physically connecting with one another and living those ideas. I think maybe we're using Facebook for a really powerful way of us growing and being a part of a community that isn't just virtual anymore, but it's real and it keeps the emotional, physical connection going.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that sounds like a great direction for things. But yeah, a lot of people are, happy to comment on things and stay behind their keyboard, but it's a different story with taking action and meeting up. So I sometimes read the comments on sites like Perth Now, and I think, gosh, if you put as much time into criticizing this or that or having a go at this person, you know, like, geez, you could do a lot with your time. But anyway, you know.
Do you know, Kasia, I've seen people that I know personally who stand for like real values, who are true leaders. I've seen the media turn them into scapegoats through people in the shadows wanting power, playing the game of smoke and mirrors. And then suddenly the media create angles for sensationalism, scapegoat the person. And I know what they stand for firsthand, right? And then I watch.
It's out of context, right?
Yeah, but also I watch the amount of trusting people that just assume that the stories that they're reading are about facts and truth, and there is no twist or angle, and no critical thinking, no general research is actually going on.
Yes.
And then I watch people who have firm views on someone that have been completely manufactured by a bombardment of a series of media articles that are fully loaded with propaganda. And then these people, Kasia, I've seen it, vicious, vindictive,
Awful, some of it, yeah.
cruel, and so righteous, so adamant that their opinions are rock solid, the truth. But if you shake any of them down to where it came from, it's all media-based, where they got their opinions from.
Yeah. Well, exactly. It's like they don't check up on facts a lot of the time. I mean, even Buddha said, don't believe anything unless you can prove it yourself. He didn't exactly say that, but
You're paraphrasing
not
Buddha?
words, yeah. The most misquoted entity ever. But anyway, I just contributed to that. But yeah, you shouldn't take anything as being the ultimate truth until you know for yourself, or you know someone for yourself. You know?
It's actually quite tempting to anything you see that, you know, kind of strikes at your heartstrings, like someone hard done by or someone being greedy and exploiting. Like, it makes you almost ready to defend something before you understand the full story. So I know that's really hard for all of us. But I think we have to help each other. Like, if social media is about conversing and helping each other see multiple points of view, I think that what I like about Facebook is that I do believe ultimately that the truth bubbles to the surface. But Kasia, when you've got so many people shouting people down, attacking people, living only in the opinion but not willing to critically think it down to what the facts are, I feel sometimes the truth is starved of oxygen because we're just not knowing how to respect each other and really get to the root causes of where our opinions formed and what's really going on.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
And I'd like to think that if we're going to use social media for the power that it can be, maybe we can just, in our comments, start to lean on understanding each other more rather than
judging.
Yeah.
I agree. And I think if you wouldn't say something to somebody's face, then, you know, maybe don't post it.
Or be willing to be wrong and frame it with a healthy level of humility, that it appears like this. I wonder if there's more to it. Like, it'd be wonderful if there was a lot more people that were framing their comments just to leave room for people to come to a place where the truth is the focus and the humility is maintained to get to it much more quickly.
Yeah, not an ego war of who's wrong or right.
That's so true, because everybody is so invested, most of the time, most of us are invested in just wanting to give value, and we think that the opinions we have are in some way where we're us being right, we're valuable, and we're not ready to entertain that we're wrong, because it's almost scary. It's like if we're wrong, we're in some way embarrassed or humiliated, and therefore we back off a conversation rather than own it and go, I was wrong about that. Very interesting. I used to think the wrong thing.
Yeah.
That's such an endearing way to be.
Being open-minded, yeah.
But I don't see much of that in comments in social media.
No.
I see people disappear out of a conversation if they feel they're losing the argument,
Yes.
rather than want to own it
And
or they switch it into personal attacks.
yeah, which is really, pathetic. Hear no evil, see no evil, post no evil. The 3 commandments.
And I know that a lot of beautiful, sensitive people can't handle the viciousness and they delete their Facebook accounts or block people very quickly. And I think we're losing a lot of quality contribution from a lot of wise people simply because they haven't felt strong enough to handle people losing the plot and being vindictive.
Yes.
So I guess there's a whole world playing out in the virtual realm.
Absolutely.
That is
so many dynamics, and
I think it's indicative of our own insecurities, really. At the end of the day, we were insecure before social media and we're insecure through social media.
In a way, it kind of amplifies it because
I think it does.
A lot of the time we're seeing a projected reality of how we think others want us to appear.
I think the amplification, I wonder if the amplification could purge out the toxins at some point. I mean, this might be me just being optimistic, but I wonder if you amplify the absurd, at some point you get sick of it and then you're forced to really look at what it is and therefore undo it because it's based on lies and nonsense.
Yeah, well, that would be the ideal situation, but some people might thrive on the
drama.
Yeah. If I'm ever feeling like I don't want to get out of bed and I want some entertainment, I often just scroll through the comments on articles because I'm amazed by some of the responses, It's entertaining.
Do you know how I digest news?
No.
I look at the article.
Yeah.
I look at the angle in which it's being created, and then I quickly read the comments. I'm more interested in how the world is digesting the angle.
Yeah, same actually.
Than
the reaction,
the article itself, because I care about people and I care about where they're at. And then I kid you not, I read comment after comment and I see such loaded bias. But you know what I notice? There are different bubbles of political influence. So if you read a certain post...
And religion, which is...
Yeah, that's true. But if you read a post that is from a source of maybe like, for example, in Australia, it would be Labor focused.
Yeah.
Or in America, it would be Democrat focused. Or if you go to Republican or Liberal, kind of, right? Now, what you'll find is that the post comes up with the angle to support the cause, and then 90% to 95% is supporting the angle. And then there's a few people in there that are challenging the premise, and they're called trolls.
Yes.
Right? And then the same thing happens on the other side, where 95% will support that way of seeing it, and then the 5-10% are called trolls on that side.
Yeah, that's very true.
I've been noticing that, and it's kind of like people get to live in their own bubble of what they believe and decide the dissenting ones are the trolls.
Yes.
Now, I know there are real trolls. I get it. There are ones that just argue from a vindictive, judgmental place with no sense of wanting to understand the point of view, no sense of wanting to discuss it in a healthy way. I get there are real nasty trolls. I get it, because they're bored and they're sick of the world and they just want to be antagonists.
Yes.
I get that. But there are also a lot of people who are just simply not just agreeing with it and are willing to debate it in a healthy way. And they're prematurely being called trolls. And I think that social media should help us squeeze out the lies and leave the purity of the truth. But if we're not going to have healthy debates, if we're not going to learn the skill of arguing with respect and trust that we all really want the truth, then we're losing the magic of collaborating and sharing with one another in that way.
Yeah, absolutely agree. It all comes back to the respect, whether it's online or in life. If you don't have respect, you won't be able to appreciate both sides of the argument or, perspectives.
Well, the next time we talk, Kasia, we're going to have to choose opposing points of view on something.
Okay.
And we have to debate together.
Yeah.
So to
Ricky
see,
Gervais is good at this sort of thing.
To see whether we digress
Yeah.
into vindictiveness or whether we can hold as an example of what it means to have a healthy debate. What do you reckon?
Sounds great.
I don't think we're going to find a point of view to argue on. That's going to be a dilemma because we seem to just see things from the same point of view, but I'm sure we can find something.
I'm sure we'll find something. Look to Ricky Gervais for inspiration. He often throws something out there just to get a reaction.
Does he?
Yeah, he even says, I just want to ask Trump followers for their opinion on this, and he's just doing it to shit stir, you know. Anyway, it's always entertaining.
Anyway, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It was great. It was fun.
And bye for now.
Bye.
Let's keep the conversation going on the EP7 official Facebook page.